Hello, third grade. So this is Miss Chelsea over here, and I'm going to be helping you fix and rewrite our paragraphs. So we read an article about recycling, and for our paragraphs, I want to read you this. It says, this is what I've been seeing a lot of, and we need to fix it. So I heard, this article is about recycle. My first detail is recycle is about trash. It tells us that you can make stuff with trash, also compost. Okay, first of all, if I were to talk to a person and read that out loud, does that make sense? Is that how a person actually talks? No. So let's go down and fix it. So I'm going to push this down and I'm going to write this article in a different way. So the first sentence is this article is about recycle. First of all, you don't need to write this article. Okay, we already know that it's going to be about recycling if you say it in a very easy way. So I'm going to write recycling. Ooh, tell me actually, first of all, you tell me about what recycling is first. So I'm going to say recycling is taking trash and turning it into something new. Okay, so I already know that this article that you're writing is about recycling. I want to know why it's important. Like, what about it? Don't tell me it's about recycling. Okay, I get that already. But tell me why it's important. That is your hook sentence. The first sentence is what is going to make a reader go, yes, I want to keep reading. So if it talks about trash and turning it into something new, I'm going to go, wait, you can turn trash into something new? I'm going to keep reading that. So that's my first sentence, okay? So I'm going to take away this because we don't need that anymore. All right. Now, you saying my first detail, you don't need to say that, all right? When you say your first detail, we already know that's going to be your first detail. So you don't need to say it. It's totally redundant. That means it's not necessary. So we are going to say, we already told us, recycling is taking trash and turning it into something new, okay? People can make useful things out of trash they have in their homes. Okay, that's just kind of describing more about turning trash into something new. I'm just giving more details, like people can make useful things out of the trash they have, and we'll make it simple, at home. Instead of in their homes, we'll put at home. Okay? We'll make it easy. Now I only have 2 sentences and I want to do a lot more. I'm going to take away that. Now we have over here compost. First of all, 2 words, also compost. That is not a complete sentence. Would you just stand there and talk to someone and go, also compost? And they go, what? What about it? So when I talk about compost, I have to introduce that too. Pretend I don't know what compost is. So we can say recycling is also making compost. And then that just introduces compost. In our next sentence, we can talk about what compost is. And then go on to our next paragraph, because that's our good introduction. Now, right here, we don't need to do 2. Well, I guess we can do 2 for now. 2 spaces. All right, my first detail is trash can recycle. We don't need to say first detail because we already know that we are talking about the first detail here. So our first detail is turning into something new, those places where people can dump trash. Wait, what? Hold on. Let's read this through. It says, first detail is trash can recycle. Those are places where people dump trash. Second detail, make stuff. Clothes and bags can be made from recycled plastic bottles. Third, compost piles. Okay, we don't need to say first, second, third, because we already know it's our first, second, third with how many sentences we have in the paragraph. So, first detail, trash can recycle. Let's change that. Places where people dump trash. Okay, first of all, I don't really understand that. If I were to try to understand what people dump trash, that doesn't sound like it has to do with what we're talking about. So I would say people need to separate their trash Okay, and then the first, the way that we separate trash is there's trash that we can recycle and trash that we can't. The trash that can be recycled, and now I'm going to reference this, like plastic bottles. Oops, I wrote blottles. Bottles and bags can be turned into clothes. And that's really cool. Okay, so I did this. So I wrote up here, there are places where people dump trash, and also clothes and bags can be made from recycled plastic bottles. I combined those. I wrote, people need to separate their trash. The trash can be recycled, like that can be recycled. I'm gonna put a comma there. Like plastic bottles and bags, comma, can be turned into clothes. The reason why I put commas there is because if I were to say that out loud, I'm gonna take a pause, like this. The trash that can be recycled, like plastic bottles and bags, can be turned into bottles. Oh, can be turned into clothes, wow. See, even I have make mistakes too. So I'm going to take away this because that's what I talked about already. Now, third compost piles, worms and bugs help break down the scraps. Okay, so I need to give more information about that. So I'm going to write the trash that cannot be recycled, recycled, like food scraps, food scraps, there we go, can be broken down by worms and bugs. And tell me why that's important, because we know that compost, that's when we take the food scraps and break it down with worms and bugs, can actually be poured onto plants and their soil to help them grow. That's a very important detail that you don't want to miss. So we want to put that in there too. So can be broken down by worms and bugs and used to help plants grow. Okay. That's a good sentence. I'm using my commas here because I wrote the trash that cannot be recycled, like food scraps, can be broken down by worms and bugs and used to help plants grow. Now my conclusion. We don't have to say my conclusion because we know that this is our last paragraph. First, recycle is trash. That is not a sentence that makes sense. Let's try that again. Second, people make stuff. Last, compost. No, those are not complete sentences. 2 words do not make up a sentence, and you know that, friends, so we're going to rewrite that. We can say, we're just going to talk about, again, what we said up here. So, we write, it is important to recycle. Okay, that is important, okay. It helps, let's see, actually, let's think critically here because I don't want to say exactly what I said up here, but I do want to describe what we talked about. So we can say, we can reuse our garbage or our trash, because we've been talking about that, using that word, trash to make other things. That's what we talked about with plastic bottles and bags can be turned into clothes. We can say, we can save, well, let's see, we didn't talk about that before. I can always add that. That's okay. We can use trash to make other things, and we can help the earth grow food with compost. There, we don't even need to say first, second, or last. Now, if Miss Chandler does want you to have 3 reasons, we need to include that people need to separate their trash. Trash can be recycled and turned into other clothes. Trash that cannot be recycled, like food scraps, can be broken down by worms and bugs to help plants grow. That's really only 2 supporting details, so let's add one more. We're gonna go back and add one more to make sure we have 3 if we need 3 supporting details. So I can write, recycling keeps the earth clean. All right, and that way I can take away this and to make a list. We can help the earth grow food with compost and keep, let's see, I'll take away earth because I don't want to say it twice. We can help grow food with compost and keep the earth clean. There. So I'm going to reread this whole thing, all right, and I'm going to change that to correct because now we have it right. So it says, recycling is taking trash and turning it into something new. I'll highlight it, all right? People can make useful things out of the trash they have at home. Oh, I'm going to change that. I'm going to make sure I have the right spelling. Trash they have at home. Recycling is also making compost. People need to separate their trash. The trash that can be recycled, like plastic bottles and bags, can be turned into clothes. The trash that cannot be recycled, like food scraps, can be broken down by worms and bugs and used to help plants grow. Recycling keeps the earth clean. It is important to recycle. Oh, I spelled that word wrong, so I'm going to go back and fix it. My computer, whoa. Oh, man, sorry guys. My computer's kind of on the fritz, but that's okay. All right, it is important to recycle. We can reuse our trash to make other things. We can help grow food with compost and keep the earth clean. That is a correct way to write an informative writing essay. So until then, hopefully this will help you guys. Make sure to read the articles and give us really good information and complete sentences. Read it out loud to see if it makes sense. Awesome. All right, bye guys.